Good evening. Welcome to the August 12th, 2019 Jurupa Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Roll call, please.
President Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Ortega.
Here.
Trustee Bradford.
Here.
Trustee Char.
Here.
Trustee Rego.
Here.
Darian Warhol.
Here.
Miguel Esparza absent. Jasmine Leyva.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Campos, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Mrs. Bradford, will you please lead us in our inspirational comment this evening?
Thank you so much. I've chosen something from the Complete Life's Little Instruction book by the author H. Jackson Brown, Jr. And I wanted to think of something for our students to inspire you. So what I chose is, if you want to do something and you feel in your bones that it's the right thing to do, do it. Intuition is often as important as the facts.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradford.
My pleasure.
Reports from closed session. Mr. Brooks.
Yes, in closed session, by a unanimous vote of 5-0, with all trustees voting in favor and none opposed, the board voted to appoint Paul Kumamoto as assistant principal of Jurupa Valley High School. Mr. Kumamoto. Also in closed session, by a unanimous vote of 5-0, with all trustees voting in favor and none opposed, the board voted to appoint Jorge Galvin as assistant principal at Jurupa Valley High School. Mr. Galvin. And lastly, in closed session, by a vote of 5-0, the board voted to accept the resignation of employee number 272422. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks, and congratulations, gentlemen. You come highly recommended, and the board is looking forward to your success in the future. So, welcome to your new positions. All right. So on to number one. Welcome 2019, 2020 student board members. Mr. Duchamp.
This is so exciting. This is like one of the favorite things I get to do. So I'll start with the new one here, Mr. Darian Warhol, who is representing Jurupa Valley High School. Big night for Jurupa Valley. Mrs. Corbin is smiling because she's up to full staffing, and she was not smiling a couple weeks ago, but she's happy now. So welcome, gentlemen. And Mr. Warhol, we welcome you as student representative to the board. Currently, he's involved in lots of sports, theater, what else? ASB, ASB secretary, swim team, and as many other things as he can do on campus. We look forward to having you here. And last year, our first round draft pick, who doesn't return as a rookie, now a seasoned player, is Jasmine from Rubidoux High School, who I started underlining everything she was involved with, and my pen went dry, but I'll just name a few: track and field, volleyball. Oh, we have a former volleyball coach in the room. Varsity and water polo, tennis, and swim. She's been involved in Regis and lots of link crew, lots of other things at Rubidoux, and you can learn a lot from Jasmine because she's a seasoned board member this year. So we welcome both of you, and if you're ready for your reports. Jasmine, we'll let you go first so you can see the running pattern here and pick up on it.
Okay. Welcome back, district board members. My name is Jasmine Leyva, and I am the Rubidoux High School school board representative. I hope you had a wonderful summer. We have some late news, but interesting. Last year's graduation rate was 94.8%, and of those 94%, 72.4% last year's seasons are pursuing secondary education. Rubidoux hosted their freshman orientation last week, where the link crew leaders gave the incoming Falcons time to get to know their leaders for the year and their advisory peers. They got time to tour around Rubidoux High School with their link crew leaders to get to know the campus, where they will be coming the upcoming year. On the first day of school, our link crew leaders wore bright yellow shirts, so it would be easy for the students to identify people who could direct them where their next class is. Last week, we also had a black and gold scrimmage on our new football field. The scrimmage was between the football team. All levels were mixed up to play each other in a friendly scrimmage. This week on August 15th, we have our back to school night at Rubidoux High School. This week we also have our first girls tennis scrimmage of the home at 3:15. On August 20th, our girls volleyball competes in their first home game against Gary High School, where Frosh plays at 3:30 p.m., JV plays at 4:30, and VAR plays at 5:30. And on August 20th, we have our first blood drive of the year. We hope to get as many donations as possible, and that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Darian Warhop, representative of Jurupa Valley High School. Starting off a new school year means new students coming in. For the first day of school, the ASB students, including me, helped introduce the freshmen during freshman orientation. We helped them get comfortable at JVHS by introducing the teachers from different departments. Cheer and band came and taught them Jurupa Valley High School's chant to hype them up. Then ASB gave freshmen a tour around the campus to get them comfortable around the school and so they could find their classes easier. ASB students also wore pennants attached to a keychain in case freshmen had any questions throughout the day. Back to school night is this Thursday, August 15th. It's very important for parents and students to attend because they know the expectations in the teachers' classrooms. There'll be many other fun things at back to school night, such as a food truck, games, and more. It is also the perfect opportunity for clubs to begin raising money. Next week, we have Club Rush. Club Rush is a lunchtime event where students get the opportunity to join clubs on campus. Clubs come out in the quad to promote their club and try to get more people involved. Club Rush lasts up to 3 days. It starts Wednesday, August 21st and ends Friday, August 23rd. Sports games are on their way. On August 20th, girls volleyball have their first home game in the gym. Freshmen and JV play at 3:15 and varsity plays at 4:15. The game is only $3, but students who have purchased an ASB card get in for free. Coming up next, we have our first football game. Each ticket is $7, but free if student has purchased an ASB card. Come support our football team at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Darian. Great job. You sound like a seasoned veteran there. And Jasmine, great to have you back. And we look forward to your reports throughout the year. All right, so we'll move on to number 2, recognition. 2A, recognize funding for 2019-2020 Career Technical Education Incentive Grant. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. The CDE recently notified us that funding for the 2019-20 Career Technical Education Incentive Grant has been awarded to us in the amount of $512,615.68. That will go to supplement our CTE programs at all of our high schools, and we've continued to receive this for a few years now.
Thank you. All right, 2B, recognize receipt of Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program Grant Award. Mrs. Ford.
The California Department of Education notified the district that we've been awarded a grant for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program in the amount of $9,197.10, and that will be to provide fresh fruit and vegetables at Ina Arbuckle, West Riverside, and Mission Bell Elementary Schools.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Ford. On to item number 3, board member comments. Ms. Ortega, let's start with you tonight.
Thank you. It's short since we're starting. Welcome, everyone. We're excited for a new school year and really excited for, as always, our student board members we missed during the summer. It was always looking to the right and nobody's there, so we're happy to have you guys back now. And brief, I haven't been able to attend many of the school back to school nights, but I hope to do so this week. That's always really interesting to see, the community and the parents and the students come out, and just how excited the teachers get to really present their classrooms and the environment, as we speak all the time of the safe environment where students are going to learn and grow. So that's always exciting to be able to experience that. few weeks ago, I attended with some of my board colleagues as well the management retreat, and it was my first time attending. And just a phenomenal team that we have here in Jurupa, and really the family environment that we have created to really grow and foster the mindset of growth. And we got to do our first pitch, Trustee Bradford and I, and that was really a nice experience for us to just really see you all outside of your work environment and to really have fun, because if we have to teach anything to our students is to, yes, work hard, but at the same time have a lot of fun doing it. So that was a lot of fun. And I think I'll keep the rest of my comments for later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ortega. Mrs. Bradford.
Well, first, I'm delighted to see Jurupa Valley having a complement of administration, and it being our kids' school. Of course, I'm delighted and welcome. As you will hear from others, this is a special district, and I hope this will be a very happy chapter in your life. Students, Jasmine, I'm just delighted to see you again, and welcome back, and please continue to tell us about when you have blood drives, because I want to make sure I get to at least one. And Darian, please tell us, since you said you're in theater, I want to make sure that we know when there are plays and what the dates are. So for all of our high schools, I really would like to attend theater events. So note, okay, help me remember that. Thank you. As Trustee Ortega said, she and I threw out a ceremonial first pitch, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with sitting here, and it often involves fear on my part of the decisions I'm called upon to evaluate and make. But for the throwing out the first pitch at a minor league baseball stadium, I took my mitt, and I always take my own mitt, and I learned, I lived my League of Their Own Bull Durham experience where I shook off the catcher's signal twice, and it's on video on the district website. Thank you very much. But the seriousness of why we're here is for our students, and thank you for all of our staff, all of our teachers, everyone who commits your lives to the betterment of our children. We went to a couple of back-to-school nights. It was exciting to go to Peralta and see Mr. Z's transfer to being a panda, and I said he was going to look great in a panda t-shirt, and he hoped so. Mission Bell was utterly beautiful with its renovation, and Mrs. Laritzen praised your staff for how well it turned out, and I think Mr. Toland was still working on the AC that evening. Atta guy, you're the dude. Sky Country Elementary, our kids went there. My son was in the first kindy class, and to see how this has grown, and the new parents with their expectations that I felt in those days, all the way to Del Sol Academy, and seeing this is going to be the legacy of. Let's see, Darian, are you wearing a NASA T-shirt? Okay, I'm really proud of you for that. This is the capability, the talent, and the devotion that we have of certificated and classified staff to you and your peers, and what you need. Please tell us, because I want to see you two in 50 years from now. Okay, pinky swear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradford. Mrs. Chard.
She's making it very difficult to follow. Mine are very somber comments. I want to congratulate Mr. Galvin and Mr. Kumamoto on being appointed your new positions. I know you're going to do well, and you're both looking pretty excited about it, too. I also want to welcome our board members tonight. I messed up on that one. Darian, and welcome back, Jasmine, for Rubidoux, and I hope to meet our new one when he arrives next time. You guys really give us a lot of information when you come, because you're bringing your school to us and letting us know of the events, even though we do get some on paper. We still like to hear from you, and we like to hear your comments. You know, you do vote on things, and it's good if you have a comment. We would like to hear from you too. Don't be afraid to speak when you're asked, or when you have the opportunity to do that. When I was growing up, they didn't have student board members, and so this is a real treat to. And I know you're well respected in your schools, because I've heard students talk about the board members that they have. And I know that it's a lot of work, because when you're in high school, you have a lot of work, and you're giving us your spare time here, which is, in quotations, spare time, giving us a little bit of time. So have a good year for both of you, and we'll see you both later on. I did attend the retreat, but I didn't get there in time to throw out the ball, so my compadres here are the ones that did a great job. But I stayed till the end and rooted for those Padre teams, but no luck. But I'm still rooting for my Dodgers. And I think we need to challenge each other up here a little bit, maybe with our high schools in the areas that we represent, maybe when our teams are playing each other, because I know Jurupa Valley and Rubidoux, I think, might play, or Patriot. At some point, they play in the sports, and we might have to take off our dress-up stuff and wear our team's shirts one night, especially when they're going to play each other that week. So I'm challenging you guys to show our spirit to our teams also.
Be true to your school.
You be true to your school. Okay. And I think that's all I have for tonight, right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chard. Mrs. Regal.
Thank you. Mr. Kumamoto, did I pronounce that right? Don't worry, nobody can say my last name either. Congratulations. I don't know if you know, but I was at one of your volleyball games last year. I was a little incognito. I witnessed you in action. You really, you're firm. I saw that. You're firm, but you're very supportive and uplifting to the students. So I know you're going to be a fantastic fit in this new position. Mr. Galvin, welcome to our district. Welcome to the family. Look forward to seeing you getting your roots settled into our district and growing and being part of Jurupa Valley High School. A couple things that I wanted to bring up. Don't leave yet. Jasmine, welcome back. We missed you this summer, and I know it's your senior year, so we're really excited to have you join our board meetings, and as well as you updating what is happening at Rubidoux. But I'm really excited to see what you're going to accomplish this year, and what you have, preparing your path to your future. And if you decide to go to college or get certification, I'm really excited to hear about you. I mean, this is your second year, and I'm fairly new, but I just, felt bonded with you right away, and just love hearing your updates every month. So welcome back. And then Darian, don't run out the door with her. But welcome to the board meetings. Look forward to hearing from you. You spoke really well.
Yes.
This wasn't his first time, was it? You did really well. So pat yourself on the back. You paced yourself. You're really clear, and I really appreciate it. But look forward to hearing from you throughout the school year. Are you a junior? Okay, so we have a couple years with them. And then a couple of updates. I attended the new certificated employees event at Del Sol. That was a really nice gathering in the morning. You could just feel the synergy. And there's a lot of new employees, and there's just always what is going to happen, what is the right steps, and you could see the support from all levels of management and even their colleagues. So that was something I look forward to attending. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we take that and really prepare something. So your team, who put it on and organized it all, you guys did great, and you made it look flawless. You were all smiling. I did events for many years, and I didn't smile all the time. And then I did get to attend one of the back to school nights. I went to a Camino, and we were able to walk around and look at the sixth grade, go through their what the parents and the students should expect in the classrooms, and you could see a lot of excited families and looking forward to this school year. And then I also attended one thing that's not really relevant to my role here as a board, but as we have some family friends that were Eagle Scouts. They had promotions this weekend. And you know, one thing about our district, as I said, was we're family. So these two students, I'm sure you know, Christian Aguilar and Nathan Everhart, they'd graduated, but of course they're, you know, finishing on their Scouts to go on to be Eagles. And they had a full ceremony and a little small reception afterwards. And what was so neat is that, you know, Miss Cook from Camino Real and Miss Cunningham from Patriot, they attended. You know, they were teachers, and they really took it beyond, you know, these students that had graduated, and they still spend time and show up to these things to support or recognize. And that's one thing I really have to say is about our district, our teachers, is that it's not just in the classroom, it's beyond, because we are really, as I said last month, investing in their future. And so I just really want to recognize these two to take time out of their own weekend to spend time witnessing two students receiving their Eagle Scouts. And one other thing I want to recognize, I know that school just started last week, a big shout out to Stone Avenue. I mean, Star Wars theme for these students to come in, and they're in their, sorry, I'm not a Star Wars fan. What are those costumes that they were wearing? What were they? Okay, Star Troopers, sorry. Stormtroopers. See how bad I am? I'm not a movie person. That thing would put me to sleep. But anyways, I really want to, just for the record, thank Stone Avenue for really getting creative and making it a fun environment. And these kids, it made their day, and they're really excited to get into their classrooms. So I hope to see that throughout our district, of just getting creative and get people pumped up and excited. I mean, I know sometimes we have to do that for our day-to-day living. So these kids, it really impacted them. So thank you to everybody at Stone for thinking outside of the box.
Robert, I would like to say something.
You can leave now, Jasmine.
I'll let them go ahead and leave. I'd like to say something I forgot. I just wanted to comment. I did go to the new teacher orientation, and Mr. Brooks and his ladies in the office put on a great program. Looked very nice. And I think the teachers and the principals enjoyed it also, because there was a little bit of competition in trying to one-up, oh, look at all the people I have at my table, people I have at ours. We had a lot of people that stood up that were former students here. I think out of about 45 new teachers, there were probably 15 that had been students, and 2 were had applied and got jobs at the school that they attended, at the elementary school. That just goes to show you what will keep you in this community if you enjoy it. And this district has been known for its the way it's run, I think, for a long time. I think that the administration, from as far back as I can remember when I was in school, I mean, everything seemed to work really well. And I think that we have continued that in our district with all of the new teachers that we're hiring, as well as our old ones that have been around for a while. They're changing positions. Instead of retiring, they're taking on a new job, and I think that's something that's well worth talking about for our district, is that we don't lose them just because they don't like it. They stay. They don't go. We have to kick them out maybe if we want to get them out of here, I think. But it was a really good program, and I did go to the retreat, a management retreat, and we really did bond with a lot of the people that were there. I know a lot of people in this district, but I did not know a lot of people there, so it really helped me to get to know the new people. So if you ever get an opportunity to go to something where you're introducing the staff or whatever, please go to it so that you get to know the friends and family in the district. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Chard. I just have a couple of things. What Jasmine reported, I think it was Jasmine, 94% graduation rate. Rubidoux, that's fantastic. And I think she was 74% going to secondary school. I just think that's just fantastic. and there's been a lot of improvement in the area of graduation. And I mean, that's, when you think about it, that's our product, graduating students. And so, great job to everyone for that. And look forward to Jurupa Valley High School back to school night. So I'll be there, Mrs. Corbin. I'll just send you a note just to confirm, and love to see both of you there. And I know you got a great staff. And just want to say welcome back. Welcome back to everyone, and have a great year. And we'll move on from there. Okay, next item, public verbal comments. First one I have here is Mrs. Wendy Eccles.
Can I say this before I actually start my comments? I had Star Wars and Marvel superheroes in my classroom for the last, I don't know how many years, so if you want to learn about it. I'm just one of many nerds in this room here today, so. Okay, thank you. I couldn't help myself on that one. So, good evening, trustees, Superintendent Deshawn, and Cabinet. I would like to start off tonight by saying thank you to all of you who have made me feel so welcome as I have started my position as president of NEA Jurupa. To Mr. Deshawn, thank you for your heartfelt introduction that you gave me at the new member orientation. Really. To Mr. Brooks, thank you for responding to my seems like never-ending questions and concerns in a very timely manner. It is really appreciated. Over the past couple of years, one of NEA Jurupa's main goals is to engage in genuine collaboration with the district. It is my hope, it is my wish, I know we can, continue to building upon the trust that has been established to promote a positive and collaborative culture between our members, administration, and trustees at both the site and district levels. I believe that we are well on our way. Our members are dedicated professionals who continually strive to provide our students with the optimal environment and supports to promote positive outcomes and successes for all. When we bring our concerns, it's because of this. When we say ask an educator, it's because of this. Our working conditions are our students' learning conditions. Some of the issues that are of continued concern for our members include increased workload, loss of autonomy, behavior, inclusion, advisory, and homework policies. I know that some of these issues have been part and will continue to be part of ongoing conversations. It is my hope that we, staff, administration, and school board trustees can come together to find collaborative solutions to these issues in order to best serve the needs of our students. On my email signature, I have an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I know we all want to go far. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eccles. All right, next one I got here is Miss Lorraine Ellison.
Good evening. I have lived on Stone Avenue for approximately 42 years, and recently it's become a logistical nightmare. There's only one way up and one way down. In the morning, I cannot get out of my driveway between 10 after 7 until 8 a.m. Same thing in the afternoon. The other problem that I have also is that somebody, I'm assuming it's parents, have designated my front lawn garden for where their children stay. I've had at least 3 sprinklers broken. I've contacted this principal for 2 years, and I realized that, she cannot see what's going on down the street, and she's assured me that she's met with the students and met with in an assembly and everything else. My concern is that it's only going to get worse because up at the top of the street right there, there's an empty pocket of land, and they're going to build 17 more houses. The traffic is, it's horrendous. And I've got trash all over my lawn every day. I have to go pick up hot Cheetos, Capri Sun, water bottles every single day. And I'm just, I went to a city board meeting, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, and they were speaking of collaborating with you to find a solution. There is a little road there, but it wouldn't kind of make sense because the cars go up, then they go in the little U-turns, turn around, so they'd have to be crossing across the cars lined up. I don't know what the solution is, but if you can do anything, I would be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellison, for coming tonight. And I just want you to know that we are in talks. I know I've talked to the city council members. I think the district has as well. And so we appreciate you bringing those concerns to us. Thank you. All right, next one, Ms. Sheila Ladwig.
Good evening. My concerns are basically what Lorraine just mentioned. I'm her neighbor. I've lived next door to Lorraine for 36 years. We both have had students up at Stone Avenue School and Jurupa Valley, and I have a granddaughter currently attending Patriot High School. And I have a special needs granddaughter who has home hospital at my home. I have a couple of concerns that I think the school board should be interested in. Like Lorraine and I have said, we have contacted the school up at the end of the street, Stone Avenue. We have contacted the district regarding these concerns. It doesn't seem like anything's being done about it. A couple of the concerns that I have this evening are sidewalks to Patriot High School. There are some sidewalks that start shortly before the school actually starts, other than the fact that if you want to either walk in a ditch or along the railroad tracks, that's the only way to get to school. Thank God my granddaughter has a ride to school. Otherwise, she'd be walking either in a ditch or next to the railroad tracks. Also, on Stone Avenue, there's only sidewalk on the left-hand side going up to the school and not on the right-hand side going up to the school. So if my granddaughter were able to actually go to school, and my daughter chose to send her to Stone Avenue, even though she has special needs, my daughter would either have to cross the street or walk along the curbside to take her to school, which is absolutely ridiculous, and there's no need for something like that. In case of an emergency, the way that the school is configured up there and the traffic on Stone Avenue is impossible from shortly after 7 in the morning till 7:45 and after school. In case of an emergency, and I'm hoping, I don't know if the district has ever checked into it or not, about doing an emergency situation up there where all vehicles need to get up there, fire trucks, ambulance, sheriffs, all at one time. It could be a mock emergency. It could be just, a test run. If my granddaughter needed those situations, those vehicles coming to the home, it would be almost impossible during those times. But I think it needs to be tested out, an unannounced thing, so the parents don't know about it. Maybe, obviously, the teachers might know about it, but at around 7:30, 7:35 in the morning, just see how long it actually takes these vehicles to actually get up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ladwig. And thank you both for bringing those concerns. And as I mentioned, we have had conversations with the city council and personnel. So we will continue to work on that. So thank you. All right, last one I have here is Ms. Sylvia Olguin.
And I can verify to what those two ladies just spoke of. I worked at Stone Avenue, and getting in and out of that school was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for the buses. It was a nightmare for everybody. And she is right. There's only one way to go up and one way to come down. And that is their private property. They should not have anything destroyed or any trash put on there from those students. So whatever you can do to help them, I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. You guys like to share a lot, so I'm going to share with you this time. We went to our CSEA conference, and it was wonderful, just wonderful. Tony Thurman was there. Paul Chavez was there. Connie Leva was there. And the one thing these three had in common is very rarely did they say the word I. They were at a conference for us, and they always said we. We did it together. They encouraged us to keep fighting. You just heard one of your board members speak of 2 teachers taking time out on the weekend to honor their students. These people were so flattering to classified employees, it brought tears to your eyes. There were superintendents there from different districts that spoke about their classified employees like they were gold. It was amazing to see that, because I finally realized that in some districts, classified employees are treated like royalty, and just so. So what I got from them was fight. Keep fighting for your right. If you have the will, you can do it. Si tienes las ganas, los puedes hacer. So you know what? I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to continue to fight for classified employees, for certificated employees, and if I have to invite these 3 people to our district, I will be more than happy to invite them, because they want to see how everybody is getting treated. So when our unions go into negotiation, remember that. People look at us, they know our worth, but this board hasn't realized that. When you can give the superintendent a 7% raise, those under him a 5 whatever raise, and some a 8% raise, and you come to us with a 2.53% raise, that is disgraceful. That is showing us exactly what you think of us. And you know what? Believe it or not, Tony Thurman talked about a custodian that raised him, that told him, you could be whatever you want to be if you want to be it, when other people were telling him he couldn't do it. So when we go into negotiations, remember that, because I'll be here.
Thank you, Ms. Holguin. And that's all the cards I have, so we'll move on. Okay, on to item number 5, administrative reports. Sorry, I had administrative reports and written communications. 5A, report on Jurupa Unified School District's parent involvement and community outreach programs. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. Our Director of Parent Involvement and Community Outreach Programs, Mr. Campos, is here to fill you in.
Welcome, Mr. Campos.
Thank you, Superintendent Duchan, President Garcia, trustees, members of the cabinet. Once again, a pleasure to be here before you to provide a brief presentation. And it'll be slightly different than from before. You have what we've put together as an annual report on a couple of our programs, and a brief slide presentation to just highlight some programs that we've had for quite some time to show ongoing progress, our annual report, if you will, and progress and new initiatives moving forward in those areas. So first, we're going to discuss our parents as leaders. Now, in the report here, Parent Involvement Community Outreach, this report shows all of our parenting programs. This PowerPoint is going to highlight our parents within the district that have been working on programs specifically. But this gives you a highlight of the reach we've had throughout the year. Our parent engagement program began when our department began about 6 years ago, and we launched our Parent Engagement Leadership Initiative through RCOE in 2014-15. Through that initiative, we had 2 programs, several graduating classes that then led to following Joyce Epstein's model of family engagement. We had an action team for partnerships where parents put together an action plan that basically followed their school site plan. Therefore, supporting the school site through programs engaging parents. We engage parents at various school sites through family literacy programming. That was initiatives parents had led, and that led to an expansion and a partnership with El Sol to where We now, from that moment forward, have family literacy continuing throughout different schools in our district. We added JTEP, which is our Jurupa Technology Education for Parents, in 2016 and 17, led again by our parent leaders. Last year in 18-19, they facilitated at over 27 sites, since 2016, with over 350 participants since inception. Our family literacy, our parents, since 2015, 15 sites with over 150 parents in attendance with that program. We launched a new program. It's an evidence-based program called Abriendo Puertas, or Opening Doors, and that's specific parenting for 0 to 5, really focusing on our preschool, Head Start preschool programs. Since 2015, they've facilitated at over 15 school sites with over 150 parents in attendance for that program. A new program this last year, oops, that's kind of off there. It says computer classes there. Mis primeras palabras, oops. That one launched just last year. Mis primeras palabras, you'll see it on our report here, was a program that was run by a volunteer. So through our network of our parents as leaders, and just engaging the community and our parents, we had a parent volunteer that came out, stood out to address a community issue. We had parents that were attending some of our Abriendo Puertas programs that were illiterate. So we had a volunteer that was a teacher in her native country, came and volunteered to teach adult literacy in Spanish for parents. She had a class of 3. Of that class of 3, worked with them to develop literacy, filling out job applications, getting out in the community. One of those 3 was able to gain employment from those services. And again, the importance, I'll kind of point out to you on our last page of this report here, kind of gives you basically an outline of who our parents are, our leaders that are out there doing the classes. And in here, we have in their native countries, we have a teacher, a doctor, an attorney. Those are our parents that are on school site councils, on ELACs at the school sites that have initiated to make a difference in our community. Very much the same model of our community health worker model, our promotora model, really engaging our community to make a difference in the community. Our report here also highlights the other programs that we provide through our nonprofits. So our various nonprofits that we partner with, like Wiley Center providing the Triple P parenting, our elected offices in our colleges for pathways. So not to really belabor everything that's in the report, it's there for you to peruse, but really kind of highlighting the fact that we have a valuable resource that we've been tapping into, which is our parents in our community members, and providing these courses and this programming to better our community. The next report, you've seen presentations on our 0 to 5, our home visitation. Now, this is giving it to you in a different lens of more behavioral health. So an update of where we're at from the last time that we've presented, which was at the California School Board Association a year ago. Again, the importance of 0 to 5, that 90% of the child's brain is developed by age 5, 80% by age 3. But here's a different lens to look at it. What happens the first 5 years affects us all. What happens as a child when we have positive parenting, access to well-coordinated medical care, participation in high-quality preschool or home visitation programs. That shapes the adults where we're improving that parent-child relation, that parent-child interaction, the healthy habits leading to a healthier life, increasing the likelihood of high school graduation. And the rest of society, that shapes the rest of the society to a safe and thriving community. Now, again, the investment part, the earlier we invest, the higher the return. So high quality birth to 5 programs for disadvantaged children can deliver a 13% return on investment, which is why there's so much funding federally or through our First 5 Riverside towards 0 to 5 programming. And our goal with our 0 to 5 in the sense of infant mental health is really looking at working with our 0 to 5 population where we can help parents navigate child development, school readiness, parenting support, mental health. Oftentimes, they're all seen as fragmented systems. Our goal in our department is really to identify it as one system where we're working to identify school readiness, mental health services, parenting support, and child development. And that truly fits right in with the mission of our department, the vision of our department, in the sense of collaborating, working with our existing Head Start preschool programs, working with our other programs throughout the area, our child care programs, to make sure that we're really providing that readiness and providing those services in mental health, but looking at it from the lens that it's all integrated: school readiness, mental health, support for our teachers, coaching support, and that parenting support, that it's all really existing together, coexisting. And again, highlighting here in our report, the last page really highlights that link as far as school readiness, early childhood programs with mental health, how it really is one lens looking at a larger system. And then what we have coming soon with our 0 to 5 programs is we have our home visitation hippie. We are actually working with our Sunny Slope dual immersion to bring in that support for our 4-year-olds that are on the wait list for dual immersion. We are looking at being certified for another home visitation program, parents as teachers, to open up more funding. And Lena Start, we are collaborating with our First 5 consortium as far as providing parent workshops to parents. And Lena Start is where parents in the home wear a vest, where it just records not what they're saying, but it records sound. And it gives back reports to the parents how often they're speaking to their children, to really, again, engage that parent-child interaction, but that vocabulary usage in the home and the fact that there's conversation taking place in the home. And that's something that's being run through First 5 in collaboration with Lena Start and working with our parents and presenting to our parents. But that's quickly and briefly, but we're able to give you some reports there so that you can peruse later. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Thank you for putting that together. Very comprehensive. Any questions from the board?
Yes, I do.
Mrs. Chard?
What do you foresee in the future? Do you have any idea of things that we're going to have to look at? I know they come up regularly, I mean, new ideas, but something that you think is affecting, that we could really benefit from some changes or some help?
In the sense of 0 to 5?
For any of them, for students, say, perhaps in the high school level, at the high school level.
So at the high school level, it's always a balance of what programs we're able to provide based on resources. And so currently what we're attempting to do is we looked at parents as resources. We're looking at students as resources in the sense of volunteerism. So in the area of behavioral health, we do have clinicians or interns that provide service at the high school. We've expanded mentoring programs in the area of behavioral health, and this year we're doing an expansion we're asking high school students, bringing them in as volunteers to do an orientation and try to engage them to provide math tutoring. Math tutoring is a huge need where they're doing peer tutoring. So that's something that we are currently engaging in. We worked with some students over the summer. That was very successful, and so that's inspired our department to try to expand that and see how we can engage our teens as far as, again, using them as a resource. They have to provide volunteer hours or AVID or national scholars to engage in a new program for math tutoring.
Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Bradford?
Actually, to Mr. Campos, do you take any community volunteers who aren't parents?
We do take community volunteers, and we have to be careful on how we process them because of liability. So, for example, home visitation, because of the liability, we can't utilize volunteers to go into the home, but in our centers, we do take volunteers, and so it just depends on what they would like to volunteer on. For tutoring, absolutely as well.
Okay, I was thinking because some Rotary clubs read to kids every week, what kind of screening process they have to go through to be with children.
So fingerprinting, so we have to do background checks. And again, it depends on the environment, but typically you're going to have the background and orientation. So the group of teens I worked with this summer, I conducted an orientation, and we had to make sure that there's certificated staff always around for liability purposes.
Okay.
So there's always a way, and I think that's the creativeness of our department as we look at what's the problem, what's the possible solution, and we work with all the departments to make sure we're addressing liability, risk, first and foremost, because we want to keep our kids safe, and then the benefit, what's the benefit of what we're putting together.
Okay, part B of my question is, as a school board member, what do you want me to think about how to help you?
I think you're doing it. You're all active in the community. You're aware of our community needs, and you're providing that positive leadership. And so just continue about with that positive leadership. Thank you.
Ms. Ortega.
Yes, I have first a comment. Amazing. You know, you hit right in my heart because that's how I actually started, and that's how actually I got very interested in a position of leadership here in our district, because I was working as a home visitor with one of our pregnant moms in the community and saw the great need. So thank you for all that you do and your team does in really getting into the home. I felt like a scientist when I was working out in the community, where I was asking myself, where does health begin? And it starts in pregnancy. And where does education begin? And it starts in the home. So you and your program are doing that. However, I do see an opportunity now that I get to work in Loma Linda, and we see the whole social determinants of health, and we continue to see even more of the workforce. So we are allowing a lot of our community members to do a lot of this work as a volunteer, but I also, and I would be responsible to not say this, that we also need to incentivize the work that these community members are doing, because we're not incentivizing their work or their diploma or their certificate. We're incentivizing the experience that they have and that they can connect with our members, and that's what thrives, and that's what makes that connection in our community. So my question is, how can we start incentivizing a lot of these parents and in the future have these programs to become even more sustainable?
Well, currently with our pals, they are incentivized in the sense of, well, it's their passion. They make a difference. They know they're making a difference, and that's really what truly they're wanting to do. Currently, we just set up advisory committees, parent and community advisory committees, to bring our pals in. We brought in some folks from behavioral health to look at, because they're at that point where they're ready to do more. So our parents being at that point to do more, all I could do is be responsive and say, what do you need from me? So we're bringing in those other resources to really form more of that community type mind of what are the needs. One of our parents is very much wanting to bring in a financial literacy program. So through our computer program, we had a budget. They had to create an Excel spreadsheet through our JTEP. They see the needs of, okay, we need more financial literacy, and so that's what we're pushing to do, is muster our resources to bring in financial literacy where our parents are educating the community on financial literacy. The other piece that we constantly do is we partner with our other nonprofits, so Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. Many of our parents, our pals, two of our pals are actually on they have a parent leadership program that they have put together. I think both you and President Garcia were at their graduation. I'm trying to remember if I saw pictures, but we had a couple there that's ongoing. We have Reach Out currently starting a parent engagement program where they're doing presentations to community members to engage and educate them as to what resources are available in the community. I'm actually going to be presenting with them in a few weeks. So there's a lot of resources that we're combining together, other nonprofits. So we're being a good neighbor and a good friend to our fellow nonprofits, and we have to look at ourselves as to what's better for them to do, what's better for us to do, and what can we do together. And I think that's the part that we're constantly looking at, addressing the needs and the best way to do so. By working together with other nonprofits, but also by working with our community and our parent leaders that are out there.
All right, Mrs. Regal.
I just had a couple questions. How large is your staff now?
I'm sorry?
How large is your staff? Like, how many people do you have working, like, on payroll?
On payroll. So we have, so part of our staff, like, it's hard to say because we have interns. We have some folks that are like short-term for like periods of time. And then we have grant-funded staff. We did just post a 0.5 outreach worker, yay, on our contract. I think we're, with our short-term mental health folks that are grant-funded, I would say we're close to 45 with interns, short-term contract staff. Wow. I think we're about there. But again, keeping in mind our fiscal, because we're out there hustling to get the grants, about 60% of our budget is all grant-based.
That's impressive. I mean, I recall, you said this is about 5 years old, or how old is this?
This is our 6th year.
6th year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recall when wasn't it just you?
It was just myself and my
An assistant.
my assistant. So we have a wonderful staff. Our department are all classified. They're just a wonderful staff. They live in the community. They work for the community. What you hear, what you've all said in your comments about the passion, you see that in our department because
Right.
it's just the passion for the community because it's their family.
Right. Yeah, I stopped
It's my
by
family.
once, and it's fully set up. And I mean, I think I stopped by there before this for something unrelated, and it was a ghost town. And I show up to donate some items from a Jurupa Valley Adopt-A family, and it was a full operation. I mean, this everybody getting involved for the betterment of our students is really impressive, and the work you do in seeking out those funds. So I really appreciate this presentation, and thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. And keep up the great work, and please congratulate your team again.
Thank you all very
Thank you.
much.
President Garcia, can I just say a couple of words about Jose?
Sure.
Yeah, I know you don't realize, but there are actually 4 Joses, and one of them is presenting right now, but another one is writing a grant, and the other one is developing a proposal and sitting on a board of some nonprofit somewhere else. But seriously, the passion and the dedication that he displays is reflected in his entire department. Everybody works super hard and super effectively because of who Jose is and what he's done. And like you said, 6 years ago, there was no PICO department, and now there's a department that other districts and counties and agencies look to see what's the best, most affordable, sustainable, intelligent way to provide all of these services to our families and students. So I'm super proud of him.
All right, on to 5B. Consider nomination for CSBA 2019 Board Member of the Year Award. Mr. Duchan.
Okay, members of the board, if you want to do this, there's a deadline, and you're all so bashful that you got to put your hat in the ring. We have, is your microphone? Yeah, do you want me to say it louder? I know we talked about it at the last meeting, so we need an official nomination and papers. You can send in one board member. So I don't get to vote, so I can't make the motion. That's about as pushy as I can get.
All right, thank you, Mr. Duchan. So, open it up to the board. I don't know if anyone would like to nominate someone.
I have a question. Didn't we discuss the two of you at our last meeting?
We did. I don't think we actually made a nomination, right? No. Did we? We have to pick one person.
We discussed, and it's been floating around in the atmosphere.
Okay,
But
well,
you need an official nomination.
may I complicate it?
Okay.
I really felt badly last meeting that I didn't suggest Trustee Regal, because in the short period of time that you've been a trustee, I truly admire how well you do your homework, the intelligent questions that you ask, how quickly you earned your master's in governance recognition, and I admire the way that you take this job seriously on the campuses, the personal connections that you have with the various administrators and school districts. And of course, that's not saying I don't love President Garcia and Clerk Ortega too. You guys who are doing your jobs, and I admire that as well, but I really needed to say plus Trustee Regal.
I do want to comment. I was the one that brought it up last meeting, and I didn't mean to infer that anyone on this board is not qualified, because I know you too are well qualified with the things that you've been involved in. The reason that I nominated Mr. Garcia and, or not nominated, but I mean, talked about Trustee Ortega and Trustee Garcia was because they both are involved in the boards of the CSBA and have been either as a delegate or on the boards. And when I was reading the qualifications, I was thinking that their involvement in this board, in the CSBA, representing our district, which is well known partly because of them and partly because of Mr. Duchan. There are a lot of people that know him and know of our district, and I know that Robert has put a lot of time in the past, and I know Sylvia is and still is putting a lot of time in as a member of the board. And for me tonight, it's very difficult to recommend one or the other, or any of you, because you all are involved in a lot of things. But I truthfully would like to recommend or like to nominate or suggest, bring up for nomination, Mr. Garcia. And that's all I have to say on.
Thank you, Mrs. Chard.
I think I would like to second sorry, trustee, because I think you've been here the longest and have been mentored by other board members and have also been very involved in the community, so.
So it's not a formal vote. It would be by well, that's okay. But it can be by consensus, so you can nod your heads, affirm, verbally, thumbs up, however you wish to signal, but we would be happy to process the application for whomever gets the consensus of the board.
Well, I thank you all. I mean, I think we all do a lot for our community, and I appreciate all the kind words, and I know there's a lot of great school board members out there. I mean, a lot of them doing a lot of great work, and I'm kind of hesitant to accept that nomination, but I really do appreciate it, and I will accept the nomination if the board will, by consensus, choose me to do that.
Yeah, I'll agree. I've just remained a little silent as this has been, I've been under a year, so I just kind of, without saying anything, just thought the four of you would be able to come up with the best decision. You've all been great in your involvement, as we've all been saying about each other, but I did want to hold back, and if we do move forward with Mr. Garcia, I'm absolutely fine with that.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Regal.
I think you have consensus.
All right. We're good, I think. I guess I just need to do some paperwork.
We're going to make you right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you to the board. Okay, so now on to 5C, consider nomination for CSBA 2019 Legislative Awards Program. Mr. Duchan.
At the last board meeting, you mentioned actually all three of our local legislators, Senator Roth, Assembly Member Sabrina Cervantes, and Congressman Mark Takano. I believe we've been in contact with all three of their offices, ready to process bios. If you'd like to make it official, we'll move forward.
I'd like to.
Again, it's consensus, right?
Yeah, it's also consensus.
I'm behind all of them.
Okay,
Same here.
same here. Okay, looks like we have consensus.
That was easier than board member of the year. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
And 5D, consider nominations for California School Boards Association Directors at Large, African American, American Indian, and County. Mr. Duchan.
Again, by consensus, all three of those positions are open. It's open to you at this point.
Okay, I don't know anyone running for these positions or qualified. I don't know if anyone else does. So we don't have to do anything here.
We don't have to do
All
anything.
right.
That was easy, too.
Okay, 5E, opening of school year report. Mr. Duchan.
So I don't know, I'm just really excited this year. Maybe I am every year, but I don't know where to begin. I think I'll start with new teacher recognition. A little closer to the mic. Okay, the new teacher recognition. We had 82 new teachers and certificated staff. If I remember, 15 were former students of Jurupa Unified School District. Another number of them were interns or student teachers in this district, and they were amazing. Mrs. Eccles was there. Thank you, and I hope that we, to our new certificated staff, gave a mutual message that we're all there for them, that we want them to succeed in the classroom. We recognize particularly those, all but a handful were brand new teachers, and they looked like students, some of them, but we recognize just how hard it is that first year you walk into the classroom and that you think you learned so much in that credential program, and there's just mounds more to learn, and it takes many, many years to become a great teacher. I have the greatest hope for our certificated staff. I want to thank personnel and the association for supporting them, and it was just fantastic. I kind of in the back of my mind always think that, and this isn't totally true, but summer belongs to our classified staff. As I go through schools, they just look incredible. I don't think, well, some of us do. I know Mr. Wilson. By the way, this is the first year we've had 2 brand new presidents of associations who are school district, not just period. You're both school district veterans, so I look forward to very productive working relations with both of you. I think we're just gonna have a great year. Our schools were impeccable, as clean as you could make them. Some of them, are fairly old, but our classified staff worked through the summer, and it's, I think, not that they don't work hard the rest of the year. There's just so much work that goes on in the summer, from ordering textbooks to cleaning floors to deep cleaning to resodding the facilities to a lot of deep maintenance that goes on. So I want to thank our classified for doing that. And again, not to minimize what they do through the school year. Just a couple statistics. If you haven't driven by, certainly West Riverside and Glen Avon have new facades. Basically, Glen Avon has none, and West Riverside has a lot of plywood. And it's really exciting to have those 2 schools under construction as the not quite last of our Measure E bond programs, but very close, and it's just really exciting. The principals of both schools have done an excellent job. Dr. Hansen's department. Actually, I think they were out helping people try to get across the road at 42nd Street. I know you heard about a couple of issues tonight. We continue to have traffic issues in lots of places, and we're consistently working with them. I know we will be working with the city and the city engineer on those. I love to throw out, there's a couple years, each time this year, a couple of statistics. Last year, we served 2.3 million meals. You can eat your heart out, McDonald's, because these meals were healthy. And over 220,000 suppers, a number of breakfasts, 450,000 healthy chips, 100,000 waters, and 58,000 rice bowls. I mean, that is pretty slick. And good food for our kids, it's just so important. We also drove 414,000 miles and transported 307,000 students last year. So the wheels on the bus really do go round and round. I just can't tell you, I jog or walk or whatever you want to call it in the morning, and when I see the buses go by, I know everything's good. And it's just amazing on the opening day of school how many moving parts there are. 2,300 employees, over 19,000 students and their families, and somehow with very few glitches, it works. Even, I think 99.9% of the air conditioners were working on opening day. So I don't want to go into a whole lot of statistics, but with a $242 million of income, $240 million budget. It's a lot of money, but boy, when it comes to educating 19,000 kids, it's not enough, really. But we do a great job with it. All of our staff. I just kind of want to make a comment about this being a family. You might have noticed the couple in the back of the room. They're both teachers in the district. They were here. They're not here anymore. I wish they were. but they were supporting their son, who's a student board member. Their daughter last year was salutatorian at Jurupa Valley High School. And it just goes to show you that that doesn't happen because people make it happen. It happens because of the type of people we have in the district. And I just, again, want to say I'm so proud to serve with the staff in this district, every single person. I could go on, but I won't, because there's a lot of items on your agenda. So I want to thank everybody that worked through the summer, over the summer, did work over the summer. How many teachers were at Summer Jam, Mrs. Ford? Over 300? That was totally voluntary staff development put on by teachers, by the teachers, for the teachers, and what's the other one? Of the teachers, right? And it's fantastic. This is our second phase of our digital gateway. We are in the process of deploying 19,000 computers. Again, we did it so well last time, it'll be without a glitch this time. Of course. And but the hard part is going to be going through what gets turned in, because some of them are still good, although they will not be supported by Google next year, which is the suite that we use on the computers. But that's just been amazing to watch. I can't tell you how many people were a little nervous about deploying 19,000 computers, if they were going to get broken, what they were going to do with them. And I haven't seen anybody at a loss for just incredible instruction on computers, and our kids are amazing. So I'll stop there.
Mr. Duchamp, did you say 417,000 miles driven?
414. I'm sorry.
414,000?
Yeah, 414,000.
So that's almost to the moon and back. And I know that because of the 100-mile club, right? And I think, didn't we? Not quite as far as the 100-mile, right? They went there and back, and once again, right?
So I think we need a competition this year. The miles driven versus the miles run.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, thank you for that update, Mr. Duchamp, and if you would like to share that with the board in the next Friday letter, maybe some of the stats.
I'll send out all the stats.
Kind of helps us to.
I could put in a plug.
Get perspective.
Aren't board members' miles can be added to the 100-mile club total? Or they can log their miles, right? Okay. Yeah.
Is that running miles or driving miles?
All right, 7 miles. Sorry.
I have 0, but okay. All right. Anyway, so thank you for that, Mr. Duchamp. And on to item 5F, other administrative reports and written communications.
I talked my time out.
Thank you. All right, so on to our action session. If the board would please refresh your screens. All right, the first item. Item A, approve and adopt routine action items by consent.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Bradford,
Second.
second by Ms. Ortega. We'll call for the vote.
I have a question. I have a question regarding one of the line items, or something I want to discuss.
Would you like to pull that? We can pull it and discuss it separately?
I don't think it needs to be pulled. I just kind of something that I want to, get on record. And I know that we've had some conversations about the line item number 9, affirming field trips. And I really, I thought about after our conversation today, we've seen several of these come through where they've been submitted late. We don't want our students to miss the opportunity, but admin has approved it, and then they're asking the board to approve it. And as I've expressed, that this is very concerning to me that we're approving something that our students had already done. We saw that last month with the cheer, and I've said, Patriot's been in school 10 years. Why are we approving? Why are they being submitted late? Is there any way that we can come up with a better process so that we're not approving field trips or anything that students are on in the future? I mean, this weighs heavy on me. I mean, I'm a parent, and even though my kids graduated, but having the board approve it after the fact, I just think that's not really a service, you know, and it's something that may have happened, but is there any way we can find a better process that we're not approving things after the fact?
So I'll just gonna make a quick comment, and then I'll let Mr. Deschamps go on. And I think probably has to do with policy and procedure that the board has approved. Because it's like anything else, I think sometimes you've got an expense report or some type of thing like that, where you know we've actually given probably some type of what do you call it, delegation to staff. But Mr. Deschamps, would you like to?
Well, there are really two circumstances when field trips or travel comes to the board without, after the fact. So let me talk about the worst first. I mean, sometimes there are clearly slip-ups, and I don't recall the issue specifically with cheer, but once or twice a year we'll get, you know, something that sits on somebody's desk for too long. And it's been our practice to clearly admonish people when that happens, but not to stop it. And the board certainly can direct us not to approve those. The second one is one where an event happens between the time it could be placed on the board agenda and the board would be able to vote on it. Clear examples are tournaments, playoffs. Sometimes a student gets invited to present somewhere. If it's out of the county, it's going to have to be an approved field trip. Same with travel. If you were to develop a policy not to approve those, that would just that would limit that travel. And clearly the board could do that. It would be items such as CIF playoffs. They all happen generally between board meetings. And while we know that all of our teams are going to CIF, we don't know where. We're very hopeful. But so those are generally the two types of incidents. We can certainly, and we can send out a memo again to all teachers and club advisors to let them know, but I believe that they go through that every year. So.
And in addition, with this particular instance, I've already spoken with the principal who's going to figure out exactly what happened and how we might avoid it happening in the future, as we do each time that comes up.
Well, it could be, I mean, something is, we're so digital, and I get that the CIF or the things that are spur of the moment, that is county invitation. My point is that, I mean, we're so far advanced in technology, and how is something that, what is the protocol, or is there even a notification saying, look, if you want to go on this trip by a specific date and you want to take students with you, this is your deadline to submit it? I mean, is there any sort of, you know, notice of, here's your timelines for it to be able to be processed?
Yes, my secretary, Cindy Vasquez, sends out all of the board member or the board agenda deadlines and when that happens, and we send out yearly the reminder what the field trip procedures are, which field trips need to go for board approval, and what the deadlines are for those. That process is in place, yes.
Thank you. I just, hopefully we can minimize that. I mean, it's just two in a row, and I just don't want to see that pattern. Last month we had or was it the month before? But it just seems that they're piling, and I just don't want to see this something that's being taken advantage of.
You had a comment, Ms. Rashford?
President Garcia, I wonder about your comment of is there an existing board policy that is not coming to mind? And I wonder if a solution would be developing one that when these kinds of situations happen, we give the latitude for decisions to be made that benefit the students. So that'll make sense someplace.
Yeah.
So it might involve a little bit of
We'll review
research.
them. You did, I think this is included under the blanket affirmations that you did, but we could also look at the field trip policy per se and maybe list the circumstance. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item B, award RFP for Facilities Master Plan Services. Dr. Hanson, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. As recommended by organizations such as the California School Boards Association, the California Department of Education, the Office of Public School and Construction, and as a standard operating procedure for school districts with a large concentration of old schools, the district has started the process to develop a comprehensive facilities master plan. So on June 5th, the district staff solicited proposals for creating this plan. And the scope of the services for a facilities master plan includes a comprehensive needs assessment for our facilities, a needs analysis, school site capacity study, enrollment projections, demographic study. Also includes education specification updates where we work collaboratively with the Educational Services Department, administrators, and staff to align the educational goals and vision with the facility needs that exist within the district in order to accomplish those goals. Obviously, cost estimates come with a plan this comprehensive, so we're able to look at a variety of aspects within the district, not only the buildings, but also the equipment, their lifespan, and the needs that will exist, 10 to 15 years out. So the district, on June 26th, the district received and opened 8 proposals. They were evaluated based on experience and developed master plans and associated references, staffing, approach to development of the plan, and the planning design of recommended projects and pricing for the overall service. One thing that's really important to point out with a facilities master plan this comprehensive, there's a large component of it is community outreach, and where we have the opportunity to reach out to the community, the school sites, the administrators, school by school, regardless if it's new or old, to identify needs that exist, potential needs that exist. We work in with the Maintenance and Operations Department with Mr. Toland, as well as to identify equipment needs and things of that nature. So it's a tremendous undertaking. It's a complex process, but we feel confident that it's something that is needed at this time. One other thing, not only is it not only recommended, but really expected from the Department of Education and CSBA and OPSC, things like that. We are not eligible for state grants, for state modernization and construction money. When we apply for these projects, we're not eligible for those monies unless we have a facilities master plan. And so it also serves that type of purpose for us. At this point in time, the projects that we've completed, we are looking at anywhere between $50 and $60 million from the state reimbursing us for these projects we've completed up to this point. If we don't have a facility master plan in place, those $60 million, we cannot access that money. And then the last thing I'd like to point out is kind of the historical nature of this process. The last comprehensive plan that was done in our district was back in 1999, I believe, 1999, 2000, somewhere in that area. I wasn't even in the district at that time. Since then, we have updated the plan and made small modifications, but in order to do something, we haven't done something this comprehensive for our school district in nearly 20 years. And so it's something that will help assist the district in effective planning for 10 to 15 years out and provide a variety of data to help guide our decisions. This evening, the administration recommends that the board award a contract to HMC Architects for facilities master plan services in the amount of $583,735.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Move for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Okay, so I move to approve, and Linda would be our second, right? Yeah, I said move for approve. So would you like to do a second there, Linda? Okay. Sorry about that. Ms. Bradford, you have a question?
Yes. Dr. Hanson,
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way, I remember the two surprises we had from, I think it was 60,000 from JCSD and then the unexpected amendment that we had that was unbeknownst to us. Is there any way these architects are going to be able to, any kind of fail-safe that we've learned?
For those,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
Those examples that you're providing, those happen in the field with major modernization and construction. So that's a lot of that happens like when you tear the walls down and you see what's behind them. This will certainly give our architects a great snapshot of our district and the needs that exist. It goes all the way from grounds. They look at ADA path of travel, updating, all the ADA updates that need to take place, the codes that have been updated over time since the last modernizations or changes. So it gives them a great insight as to what is needed at our schools. But what really helps is the district to be able to prioritize those projects. We're going to be looking at safety and security throughout the district, not only perimeter fencing, but like where camera placement and things like that'll really help benefit the district. But it provides costs, and then we're able to analyze the data and then prioritize the needs. A lot of the prioritization will come from community outreach meetings as we assess from the community what is important to them, and it'll help align our priorities as well as align them to the educational goals and vision that we have in the district. So a lot of data is provided, something to remedy that, not necessarily, because sometimes those things happen when we tear into walls or we get into the ground and it's not as we expected or hoped.
I do want to add one thing, though. Every year regulations change. So 20 years ago, even when we updated it about, I think it was 12 or 13 years ago, there were different regulations on stormwater runoff, on ADA, on even what we put in air conditioners, on whatever, the CFCs, Freon. So this will give us a head start on those things, unanticipated, as Dr. Hansen says. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like when you put in a patio at home and you find somebody had already put a slab under it. It happens, but that it will help with those.
So it sounds like you have a lot of confidence in this group.
Absolutely. They've done work in the district. In fact, they're the ones that did Jurupa Valley Stadium. They've designed, they provide the conceptual design for Patriot High School Stadium and pool. I've done work at Peralta and many other sites. So we are highly confident in this group and have a great relationship with them.
Do you have a to-do list for them started?
We have already, we've already started the planning process. It's like as we talk, there's more things that I want to share with you. I'm really excited about this, obviously. This will be ongoing, and we will provide updates to the board throughout the process. And that's really important as well, is that the duration of this project, we hope to have the deliverable in January, February, around that time. But throughout the process, we'll be coming back to the board and updating you on what is taking place with the steering committee and the information coming from the community and the work that's being done up to that point. And then hopefully in the February board meeting, we will bring the plan to you for you to accept. We are asking that this plan be digital. The last plan we had is in binders, and you're flipping through pages. This will become digital. We'll have access to the data real time, and it'll really help guide those decisions.
Who's going to be convening and conducting the community outreach and meetings?
We'll be doing it in partnership with the organization, with HMC.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Ortega?
Yeah.
So the way I see this, it's for a 10-year, it's an investment of a little bit over $500,000. Does this firm count those 10 years as forecasting as well? Like looking 10 years in ahead in advance when
absolutely.
they do this plan?
That's what this is for, exactly. We're hoping to get 10 to 15 years of data to be able to help guide our decisions for the next decade or so. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ms. Regal?
No, as you mentioned, it's comprehensive data, so we will no longer have to use all the paper. I'm sure you have books and books of that. What is it, is there going to be a maintenance that you plan after that 10-year, or do they revisit frequently? Is this going to be, in the long run, it's going to save money? So if we're looking at things in 15, 20 years, you know, are we looking at it's not going to be as big as of an investment to the district?
I wouldn't say that it's not as big as investment. I mean, there's escalation. So 10 years from now, a plan, if we were to go out for a plan, is going to cost more money due to escalation in costs. However, it will help guide us to make good financial decisions at specific points in time over the next 10 years. And throughout that time, we will be updating and revisiting it. What we might find as a priority over the next 18 months or 24 months may not be in 5 to 6 years, and those priorities will be adjusted, and we'll know what the cost of those priorities will be as we make those adjustments, rather than on a whim.
Okay, and you know,
We own the data. The data is ours. That's correct.
I was looking at the school security, and that is, you know, I really appreciate that they're factoring that in as a top priority in future development or whatever we do decide to change with the schools, if we do decide to change them. Now, are those things that also we're looking at structure changes for the safety, or is that just something, some sort of added, something enhancements to the campuses for safety?
It's all inclusive. So like what we've done with our current projects, where we've had to change the layout of campuses to create these single point of entries, that may be part of it, but it may be security cameras on the campus and where they're placed. We hope to work and bring along law enforcement through this process so they can guide us as to the most beneficial places to put cameras and to where a campus could be accessed, and all those types of things. So it's all inclusive. And when it comes to student safety, everything is on the table. And so it'll include perimeter fencing, gates, cameras, glazing, or, you know, all those types of things.
Okay, and then which fund is covering this one?
Great question. That was my last point. So this is funded by Fund 40, which is a special reserve fund, as you all know, for capital outlay. So this is not Measure EE dollars. It comes from Fund 40, which is set aside for capital outlay projects.
So we've kind of been saving for this?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions? I just have a couple, or maybe just clarification, Dr. Hanson. So this is a great plan for our district going forward, right? But we also can access up to $60 million worth of state grants without it.
That's correct. So $600,000 for 50 to 60 million. It's the
Okay.
trade-off.
Thank you. All right. No more questions. We'll call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item C, adopt resolution number 2020 or 2020/02, appointing state allocation board and Office of Public School Construction designated district representatives. Dr. Hanson.
Thank you. This is just an update to our current resolution to include Ms. Griffin, our Director of Planning and Development, so that she's OPSC, when they send out their notifications, only send it to those that are listed in the resolution, and so we need to get her in the loop of that communication. So I recommend, or administration recommends this evening that the board adopt resolution number 2020/02, appointing state allocation board and Office of Public School Construction designated district representatives.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Chard, second by Ms. Ortega. Any questions or comments? All right, let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. And our final item, item D, board member committee reports or additional comments. Mrs. Regal.
Thank you. One thing I wanted to talk about, reading through the agenda, we receive frequent donations from local organizations or members, businesses, but I did notice on there that BMW donated to, if I'm going to say this right, even though I have one, DOCH engines, they're V8s. So these are for our Jurupa Valley High School mechanic class, and that's really impressive that BMW, it was good networking. I believe that was from the teacher, Elliot.
My understanding is that BMW may have reached out a contact from them to the teacher at the program.
Okay.
He's out there also, so they might have known each other one way or another. We're trying to negotiate, as I think I mentioned earlier, for the rest of the car.
Well, if it needs some body work, right? We know where to send it. But I just wanted to note that those type of donations for our students is so beneficial. It's really going to help them. I know that we tend to get more of the classic model vehicles that have less technical wires and computers and all those things. So really, I was really impressed to read that. I mean, of course, any donation that we receive is really appreciated, but this one, it really benefits our students. I'm going to be getting into some more back to school nights. I do have some travel this week, so I'm going to be, as soon as I get back, I want to hit the ground running and get over to some schools. And then there's a few other events that we have coming up, and at this point in my mind, I know they're coming. Some food drives in September, help out with that. State of the City is coming up, so I'll be throughout the community doing various things. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Regal. Mrs. Chard.
Well, I did attend Peralta's back to school night because I have a kindergarten granddaughter that went there. And the classrooms were just beautiful, all of them. They were filled wall to wall, floor to ceiling, with things for the kids to look at, words and phrases and pictures. And she was so excited to go to kindergarten. And I know that all the other schools were prepped and ready to go, all the other classrooms too. And I did speak with the principal, Mr. Z, down there, and he was very impressed at how organized his class was the first day of school. I went there also with his staff, I'm sorry. I went the first day of school, and I got there about 8:10. There were already a lot of kids in their classrooms looking at things, visiting with the teachers, going back and visiting with their old teachers also. And I think that really says something for the kids, that they really like the schools that they're at, and they really like the staff that's there. And so it was good to have new staff, but it's also good to keep our old staff there. We all got a letter from one of the schools from a teacher, Jody Piper at Iron Arbuckle, and she'd written to us last year, earlier this year in April, about security at her Iron Arbuckle, and how she is in a portable in the back, and it didn't look like it belonged to the school now that the school is so remodeled and beautiful. And I'm just going to read you just a little portion of what she said. I'm ready to let you know what has taken place since the first email. Before the school year ended, metal plates were installed on each portable door to prevent someone from prying the door open. These plates are very thick and should definitely help deter anyone from trying to break in through the door. I do not believe there were any break-ins over the summer. In addition to the security measures, the portables have also been painted to fit with the remodeled building's color scheme. They look great, and I know both students and staff are enjoying the new look. I have attached pictures of the door plates and painted portables for you to see. Thank you again for your help and for the work you do for Jurupa. It's good to know that the teachers too appreciate what we're doing, and that Dr. Hansen and our maintenance teams really get on the job and prepare for school, so that the first day of school, like Mr. Duchamp said, everything looks really nice. And it's good. It's just good to hear back from them that they appreciate what we're doing, and that they are being noticed and taken care of. If they write to us about things like that or come and comment, we do try and take care of our staff and our people here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Chard. Mrs. Bradford.
I don't have any committee reports since we haven't met yet, but there are two more things I'd like to mention. First, the Louis Rubidoux Nature Center over there is having a community forum this Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. asking for community input. And I consider it an educational resource. And I encourage you, if you'd like to come up and look at this flyer. I took our boys there when they were little guys. They'd have things like Predator Week, where we pretended to be spiders. I mean, that was when I wanted to participate. So I consider it a very valuable community resource. The other thing that I want to tell you about is going to the schools and seeing the care with which our parents treat their children makes me want to weep. The fresh haircuts on the little boys, the waxed, whatever styles they have, like Dr. Hansen. the dapper tonsorial look of Mr. Campos. The little girls, the way their hair is so beautifully braided, great big bows. I was driving around in front of Del Sol, and there was a mom with her little girl, after they parked safely, adjusting the bow before walking into the PM kindy. And I thought, what you talk about, President Garcia, our graduation rate, I think about the seriousness of what we accomplish here as a school district is the most precious commodity, asset, wonderfulness of our children, and thank you so much for taking care of them for us.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. Ms. Ortega.
I don't have committee reports, but an interesting event that Trustee Rigo and I went about 2 weeks ago was the redistricting with Naleo, I think it was, and it was really interesting to find out how important that is to the fact of us being represented. And it tied a lot with the census, and there was actually one of the committee members there was actually a graduate from Jurupa Unified, and she was just telling us her story about how she got to travel and how really it is a big commitment to be a part of that committee. So it was just encouraging to the community to have those leadership positions. So I had, little bit of knowledge on how important it was. But after this event, I think we left knowing much more than we were expecting. So I think that was really cool. And it was here, right up above. I can't ever say that either, CCHA. So it was really nice to be a part of that. And speaking of representatives, Karen Spiegel, who represents us and as a supervisor of Riverside County, also invited us. Maybe if you want to go, Robert, but if you don't. It's a women's leadership conference, and I think it's really cool to be a part of that as well. So. Just in case. You got invited too. So. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ortega. Yeah, I did receive the invitation. It's all women speakers, and I might go. I don't know. We'll see. But I just had one thing to share. So last week, I think, Assembly Member Eloise Reyes from 47th District, I recognized 30 people under 30 that they're doing great things, and I didn't pay a whole lot of attention, but because I was like, well, maybe I'll check it out. I mean, sometimes people under 30, I mean, what have they really done, right? I mean, Mr. Ortega here has done a lot, but that's not to say they haven't done anything. But I figured I wanted to see what they've done to get this recognition from Assemblymember Reyes, and so I didn't take a look right away. But Penny Newman, who used to be the director at CCAEJ, had recognized one particular young lady on Facebook, and her name's Mariana Lopez. And she congratulated her, and I looked her up, and she's a Rubito graduate, 2012. And so I said congratulations, and because I thought that was pretty cool, And she did a lot of things. I mean, UCI, she was in leadership roles, and she did a lot of great stuff. So, and then she responded to me. She says, "Oh, Mr. Garcia, you actually gave me the Lions Club scholarship that year at Rubito in 2012." And then I immediately remembered her, and we started chatting a little bit. And I completely remember this young lady from then. And so she inspired me back then, and she's doing a lot of great things. And she said to me, the final thing she said was, I did tell you at that time that I was going to come back and represent our community and give back to the community. And she's also a planning commissioner at Jurupa Valley. So the city of Jurupa Valley, she was appointed as a planning commissioner, I don't know, this year sometime. And I'm not sure if she's a part of the NALEO thing, but I know she volunteered with CCAJ. So I wanted to share that with you. And this is one of our graduates from Rubito who's come back to town to really do great things. So any final comments, Mr. Deshawn?
I have two. First of all, since you mentioned redistricting, I heard this on the radio and I just double-checked the timeline. The 2020 Citizens Redistricting Commission, which does congressional seats in California, is still open to applications by August 19th. So, yeah. But is August 19th the extension, though? I think it is, yeah. So you can still apply. The other thing I wanted to mention, which is, let me get it back here. I received a text at 7:21 from Sergeant Soto. Hope you're well. Texting to let you know that the deputy who was supposed to work the board meeting was pulled away with me to assist at the scene where the CHP officer was killed this afternoon. We just cleared the scene. The deputy was on his way here. Denise texted to let him know he did not need to come to the meeting, but there were apparently 3 officers shot, 1 succumbed to the wounds, and I couldn't find too many other details as to what actually happened, but I guess it was a shootout on the 215 freeway, so we sadly mourn the death of an officer.
All right. Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to those, and also the folks from El Paso and Dayton and Gilroy. So I know we're doing a lot in this district to make sure that our students are safe, but we all have to be vigilant. So with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.